Hello everybody, this is another episode of Kohan Duels. This time we have a 2v2. This will be Naked One in black and Mart in brown. They are allied here. We have Devon, red, and gray in teal. Now this is an older submission. It's an older game that was submitted to me by Mac. He says it's an interesting game. The map gen seems relatively even. I took a second to look over that. We have a 4 slot here, Nat Town. One of the stronger things you can gen, and a backwards Natville. Well, it's behind his main, so it's relatively safe. Good distribution of layers on both sides. 4 slot Dowry. This is nice, but it's in a relatively contested place. Although I would say it favors the Royalist, just simply because the Royalist player has more access to cavalry units early game, and a greater supply limit if he wants to throw some footmen out there or something. Then we have this other gallery, right? Besides that, we have some neutral resources. I've not seen any Caldonite spires or anything like hugely impactful. This gold in the main is going to be nice, and this dark rift. But this seems to be pretty even. So we'll start from here and just see where it goes. Now, I did have some people asking about the audio balancing last video, and I'm going to try my best to make it a little bit better. I might pause in the middle of this to see if the audio is balanced or not, but I lowered some bars and raised some others, so we'll see how that works out. Alright, we're starting off with the Naked One. He has Adelon, he's an okay Kohan. Getting Fireball Kohans on Nationalist always feels nice. And Thora, she has excellent scaling. She starts out a little behind, but not against Seiya, obviously. The Shadow Bane bonus actually puts her a bit ahead of some even Protection Kohan versus Seiya. I do have a little bit of a cold, and that's why this video is coming out a little bit late this week. So, if I have to pause to clear my sinuses or something. We have Jordan Avishai. Yes. He actually has excellent provided modifiers for a Kohan with such great combat stats. He's a well-balanced guy, although he does require more managing than most Kohan. Okay, so you got King Ulrich. He'll probably go on the Dragoons, if I'm being honest. Melchior, Shemael. Pretty standard open. He's going for skeletons, most likely. Well, pretty much guaranteed if they're going Iron Depots. And here we have an armory open. Oh, so this is going to be mass Dragoons. Probably. I think this is going to be a lot of Dragoons coming out of Devon here. Maybe the 3-goon open, which is 1 full long goon and then 2 short goons. So the reasons I've seen people do this is actually because they have poor Kohan, not usually because they have Kohan they like. And what it lets you do is get out on the map early and create pressure that requires usually 2 players to counter. If it's not scouted, like in a 1v1, it can just win you the game, because it's hard to deflect 3 Dragoons attacking you. I'm going to try and work on my camera movement and kind of pace myself here. I think I was all over the place the first game, but Courage. He's going to just tank it. Okay. This should work out because he does so much damage himself. The scene is one of those Kohan who's a little bit oddly placed. Yeah. I think that was the right move, considering he's not making scouts anytime soon. And also, his Courage protected them from that Chain Lightning a little bit. Maybe not from the initial Chain Lightning, but from losing morale after the fact, from losing all the Dragoons. The nice thing about melee Kohan is even though you're missing a few Dragoons, a lot of the power comes from the Kohan himself, and as long as you have morale, you can still clear lairs, you can still clear, still fight. Yistok, this is a dangerous place for Yistok. Okay, quickly noticed by Ray, reposition. They should be fine. Let's see what you're up to. They're all the players are clearing their initial layers. It will take time to pause and see what people when the game speeds up. Check out economies. You know, you guys probably have a better eye on that than I have. Just as viewers, you know, I'm focused on the movements, the little blue and red dots. Alright, we have Vargas and Sylvana. These are okay Kohan. They're not like what you would want, but they're pretty solid B tier Kohan. Unlimited morale melee Kohan are good. Summoning Kohan are always good, especially tanky ones. And they can be used for a lot of deflection. These Shadeling Kohans don't really get a bad rap in the community, but people don't really appreciate them. The ability to summon itself is just a large build. You can delay so many things. You can counter other summons by having your summons fight their summons. Then afterwards, they just disappear. It's not good. Yvonne, excellent Kohan. A courageous archer with a speech bonus. He doesn't get like crazy scaling to the Kaldonite or anything like that. But I would argue that he gets more value out of his company than some of those DPS Gohan, just maintaining morale. So morale is also something that when you look at it, like, yes, it's until you route, right? But it's also, once you get below a certain amount of morale, you can't manage your units in the pressed position. You'll be too tired to be pressed. So, in a sense, courageous and such do give you access to greater micro on that. Delaying tactic from I went that spray, dropping the wasps and backing up. This might cause a lot of attrition, but he has his backup coming, and horse archers are incredibly powerful, so, especially at the start of the game. Because if you look at these stats, yeah, it's pretty comparable. 220, range attack, 8, yeah, he's gonna have to lose, and double horse archer to boot. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna have to just abandon this. Even pressing, he can't really prevent that. I'd say it's almost a waste of energy. However, with the mass goons coming up here, maybe I'm off with my analysis. Yeah, I'd say I am. This player fixing his economy rapidly despite opening. I think this is 3 Dragoon, right? So. Not far behind. He's not where you'd want to be for Nationalist, but at this time, if you open traditionally, he's got 3 goons on the field, and this will have paid for itself if they deny or claim this. The Naked One, investing in those 2 horse archer companies and Lear's early game. He hasn't hurt his economy any by doing this because of these the stone mine here. So he's actually going 3. Ooh. Did he have a wood mine to exploit? No, it's just the gold mine. Yeah, mines are kind of a godsend when you're playing Realist. Yeah, that's a lot of horse archers. He might actually be able to contest this. Once his teammate shows up, he for sure has a presence. Here, if you just engage Vargas, these guys won't be having a fun engagement. Ethan, okay. Yeah, that's a really good short company. Ethan skills. And Dragoons have a lot more standing power than Scouts, obviously. But can they withstand the hordes of sad bone boys? I think so. This looks pretty solid. And these guys are for company. They're screening now. And while these guys are healing, this outpost is going to give them a backup zone of supply. At some point, one of these teams, they're going to try and take this probably. Yeah, the pressure's on. Yeah. Fighting on two fronts. Well, two fronts. They're straight north. Okay, use that melee Kohan advantage. You just don't want to be engaged with him. He's stronger than a dude. And there's no archers on him. But yeah, he has to get out of there now. The fireballs are too much. See this, this is the courage giving advantage. Is he gonna be forced off? Oh, okay, so without some kind of place to go in between these, this might not be enough. Yeah, if they had settled or built an outpost ahead of time, so that while they were traveling up here they'd be healing, then these companies might have showed up, even with 4 archers, been able to support this push for the Gari. Now where are we at? Okay, he's healing his skeletons. So this is going to become a rotational thing, right? Well, one faction can't really rotate in and out, the other one really can. It's because the zone of supply is compromised constantly here, so nothing is healing in or around it. This outpost may have served them better actually somewhere, like here, or not in the front, but somewhere between the Gari compound, where they can't attack one and compromise both. Or if he has the gold, he could have potentially built more outposts. It's something to keep in mind. I'm surprised this place is standing for now. The morale on the horse archers, yeah, they must have been kind of low. And he just destroys enemies. He's like, nah, you know what? Denying is still a win here. Although they did invest more in maintaining. Well, I guess it's kind of even with his outpost. Yeah. That will secure them this Jared's Crossing here. Consolation prize. And this guy's got his 3 goons on the map gathering experience. Not a whole lot, but you know, I think these goons are doing okay. Yeah. And once he hits Enlightened, his courage turns to blessing. And I think that's a bit of a side grade for a melee Kohan, because so much of his benefits are actually that he has unlimited morale and his melee. His personal stats actually scale pretty well. Although I will say Blessing is a better buff than Courage. If you want to get into the nitty-gritty. One of the parts. Yeah, I'm not seeing any crazy Kohan experience piling up. Maybe still in the regular company though. This is a lot of horse archers. This is the kind of thing you dread. Did he get a tech? No, he doesn't even have a tech. This is just mass horse archers. And why not? You know, you're a nationalist player and a council player. Not really much they can do against this besides react, and try and get summoners into position. He luckily does not have anything in this. I suppose this is a Master Goon game. I thought this was those 2 companies up there as well. He's relying on pretty much using Master Goons. See, okay, he has Enchanting. So that's one of the reasons you could say he makes a second round. But really, these companies don't have much value anymore. Like, initially, they have a lot of value because they can gather experience. Your Kohan are getting looking like as the game goes on, building more games doesn't really do much for the military strength. But strategically, it's a valuable something. You can see they're going to be ran off. I should probably comment on that. So they're taking back the fort here is never in any danger. He's probably going to use a teammate to bail him out. He's going to find himself. Choose a class. Don't let them choose a class. Mass This is what I like. Good Kohan control here. He's not engaging him now, but he was engaging him. There's too much damage flying around. You don't want the melee Kohan running into the base. Alright. Hi, okay, we return. Alright, I had a big pause there. Some small stuff to take care of around the house. Alright, this is a big engagement. I'm going to slow it down actually, because we're at 140. So, looking at this, these horse archers are being done. Ouch, that is painful. This is a lot of horse archers out of... Oh, jeez, I've never seen this many horse archers out of one player. Not without like a reason or like a tech to abuse, like ironwood bows, something like that's a percentage increase in damage. Okay. Whew. Black losing his captain immediately. He should be able to cover this with the amount of cavalry he has. Just jamming the retreat button, or rather the route button. He's not quite in his zone of supply, so this is a lot of wasted time healing. It's because he's managing his units up here. Groundbreaking the Shadelands, I like this. This is something players forget to do. Shadelands do a lot of work as far as catching arrows, stray fireballs, whatever it is, really. Or just being used to prevent flank. These can also screen for horse archers quite well. Something you could try even is Shadeling Shadow Demon to screen for horse archers if you have the combo. These companies doing alright, already getting some good experience on him. He's actually a pretty good short move Kohan because of his spell immunity and his high melee stats. This guy's coming into the fray. You got summoners and magicians, well, wizards. It's a good mix. A lot of morale play there. This is kind of a jam. I don't think it's got. If I'm fighting this as black and brown, I'm happy, kinda, as long as I don't lose anything, because I know where all these dragoons are. And also I know where his mana is. So as long as I'm rotating out, healing, and protecting my stuff, I'm happy. Now, it doesn't seem like he actually is going to prod forward with his slow companies. Switching to press. He wants to get all these companies healed and then ready for a big fight. Maybe hit in 2 locations at once. You see, even one Dragoon can do some work stalling out the expansion of the enemy player. Because this is a lone agent. You know, this company's totally capable of dealing damage. Also, it's excellent to keep Ethan shooting involved somewhere active on the map. He's nearing his enlightened. When he is enlightened, this man tears through skeletons. That includes skeleton militia. His damage changes to Kaldonite on his archer, his ranged damage, and these also increase a little bit, but it's mostly just his damage scaling and the type changing to Kaldonite. So, like, when you have multiple damage types, like you're an archer who uses Kaldonite damage overwrites the ranged aspect. So ranged resistance will not apply to Caldonite damage from a ranged source. That's hard to watch. A taste of his own medicine, ironically. No. Getting stuck on air and dying. Very undignified. That's one of the risks of pressing through militia. I've seen that happen before. He was nearing, I think he had 34 experience, it said. Yeah, he was nearing if he'd been involved in a few more good engagements. Although if you're trying to scale up your stock, you want to put him on a company that can deal some damage when a fight. Though usually people just use the skirmish and abuse his mana pool on scouts. So many horse archers. So the wizards and summoners both don't give a crap about horse archers unless you're shooting this company directly. These guys have range resistance and wizards have archer resistance. It's a pretty good engagement. It seems like there's some flanking upon flanking going on here. Because there should be a counterattack coming to counter this too. We'll see. You hit me here, I push over here. Athan, doing some scouting. He loves this opportunity to get some experience on these guys. However, they're holding him there so that a large mass of skeletons can hit this village. And I don't see anything in reserve. Okay, he's got some dragoons, but dragoons aren't going to counter that many skeletons. Although I'm surprised at the lack of tech, just mass Kohan skulls. Here, this fight has still been raging. I pulled away. The mana companies need to be getting damage, otherwise this player has no chance of repelling this. Although it looks like the morale is becoming an issue, and there's not enough to cover the mana companies, he's going to have to push. Retreat. Yeah, he's pushing him back. This is so many horse archers. It's a shame not to see just more wizard companies. Hound wizard companies, too, if you have the opportunity that can push some space back. But horse archers have so much mobility, it can become an issue. You pretty much want to block them out and create pressure with outposts while protecting the wizards. See, this blessing regular goons in the forest here is actually doing pretty good at stalling this. Just because of the bulk. 20 DD. Let's speed this up a little bit. You gotta have to push into it. These guys are healing. Alright. Give some pet warning. Let's take a pause to check on the economies real quick. 83, mostly iron, blast furnaces. He's still keeping that barracks there. So he's open to more dragoons, is what he's saying. Then here we have Royalist Mass Horse Archer. He sees Mass Dragoon, he says, I'm gonna meet you with something equally lazy, Mass Horse Archers. Then here we have... I'm wondering if they're gonna go for mana in this. It would be nice to see some kind of company, but Gari don't do good against cavalry, so I could see the reason not to. Less 92, and the Sill player is tall and small. He's built an economy on very little land. I don't think it had to be this way if he'd gotten some outposts up while fighting the Gari player, but you know, at least he's putting out mana companies. Explains why he's playing it the way he is. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and speed up a little bit. Go up to 200. Now, getting these Caldonite fields would be huge for either player. Although honestly I think it should come down to red. If red techs out his nationalist town and protects it properly and builds these Caldonite spires, a huge army of summoners and zealots would be the ideal solution to most of his problems. Horse archers do not do well against zealots. Not because they're hit points, but because they're very morale dependent. Like everything, really. But they lose units fast when they get on top of them, and they don't want to take amplified damage. Okay. Now, some small engagements, but you know, without mana companies, you don't really have much staying power against militia. That's really what the story of this game is. We have lots of melee, we have lots of horse archers, and no way to clear militia. Horse archers can clear militia while in switching dragoons, but not supporting standard units. It's a pretty low-tech game, and you know, it's been 29 minutes of this back and forth fighting. I want to say neither side is where they should be tech-wise. That's because they went for these very all-in strategies. Mass Kohan, Mass Horse Archer, no mana companies out of either player, trying to expand. This Horse Archer top, this is a blob. This looks like some Genghis Khan steppy shit happening right now. Javelin swinging in. Sebek, see, all of his tech is actually coming out of his Kohan, which is kind of fun. It's not significant, but Sebek does have this Poison Cloud, which is like very nice debuff to throw on enemies, counter out some of the stat swings from protection and such. You see, the Teal player is still the one fronting all the mana, which is a shame. They really need to secure this, repair it, build up 2 forts, make it unassailable. It would be my take on this. Then start pumping out a mass mana, because they have the resources to do it. They have the ability to secure their area. As soon as they catch on to that, I think we'll be pretty solid in this matchup. Because there's a lot of basic companies. I don't think I see any mana coming out of either of these players. Something scaling for Seiya would be nice. All they have are these skeletons and the Hans on the skeletons. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see. Awakened. Once he gets up there, he'll provide a little more power to this player. The Amon Koth. His Enlightened is his best power spike he gets, probably. Summoning Rakash. It's not like spammable with most summons, but you can get in there. You can provide anti-flank or flank. Rakash moves fast. Hit pretty hard. Just farming the experience needs to. Yeah, as long as they don't die, this is gonna scale into a huge problem for the Seiya player. This is an okay type, I guess. A bit of a waste at this point to make more Dragoon companies, or maybe if you just put this Kohan on that Dragoon company. I've always been a fan of putting I've always been a fan of putting Garridan on Horse Archers. It lets you counter scouts with a melee Kohan. Yistok facing his second death. Oh, nope, he gets out of there not targeted. Yeah, I would not be okay with allowing this to go down. And a lack of sustain and mana is what I'm going to put that up to. Watchtowers, it's a good defensive upgrade, although I will say fortified walls is better in 2.02. You get 4 DV for that. 2 more than you normally would, and more militia count. Losing Ahikar would have been a massive blow to his scaling, seeing as he's using this Dragoon Kohan strat. He immediately pumps out another one. This is not what you want to see out of your nationalist player. You invested in that early, but it's already paid for itself with that pressure. Alright. Looking at this. Yeah, this area, securing this would be so good for them right now. I feel like he's not exploiting the resources he had on his map as well as the other side is. You could put that up to, say, a royalist pressure versus nationalist, but he had the tempo advantage militarily most of the game to because of his opening. And he still sits at a better economy than either player and even his teammate. No, actually, Teal's starting to pull ahead. This is how Gray likes to play. Lots of mana units, which might win them the game, frankly, because this simple army structure does not do well against anything that's a thought to it. You can just hear the horse archers neighing to death. Just simple green company. Looking like the front line for all of that. If the hell of a drug. So is regular. See, that's also a downside to making lots of companies like these, is you spread out your experience a lot further too. Now, not necessarily the issue when you're fighting equal numbers, but early game it can matter. It'd be really nice if he was on a regular company using or something. Enlightened final, but just dumping Prakasha into the fray isn't going to do a whole lot. Might wipe out that company. We finally have some Shadow Priests. Mass Shadow Priests. This is not the strategy I would have gone for in this situation, because of how easily you can deal with this as the Nationalist player. You're so close to getting elite cards if you really need them. But he hasn't skilled his tech tree, so first he has to make summoners and other solutions. He can't just rush there. He's using that cavalry strength. I want to know where Kasim is, because he's the one who should be splitting if they are splitting, because he can take out the militia most handedly. Maybe he lost Kasim. And, yep, that's what Shadow Priests do, they force errors. These are all at risk of dying. Now, you'll see that Shadow Shock isn't as hard of a counter to these elementals as, like, Prophets would be, requiring multiple casts just to take one down. And if you spread out your units in the meantime, all they're freezing is elementals and militia. So that's a counter to Shadow Priest for people who are struggling with Shadow Priest or Prophet play. When it's used against you, it's a bit of a noob crusher technique, but use your numbers and spread out your units. Let them waste all their spell and mana on militia, chaff, elementals, and engage behind that. Ideally, you just throw damage over the stunned units, or flank. It's kind of awesome to have these protection veteran goons. It's the first company by actually that's veteran, and veteran goons have a significant impact on the game. They can beat any of these companies handily. Maybe not Kasim, just because his engage is so powerful being a melee Kohan. I see him in like very good 80, 60. Yes, he defended that pretty successfully. He has healing companies, but nothing to protect from the rebound. He'll have to swing some dragoons over there. Sorry for the inconsistent audio. I'm going to try and keep my head where I need it to be. Get a hanging mic. Okay. This is a big back and forth push between finally mana units versus non-mana units. Prophets and stuff are minimal, or Shadow Priest are a minimal investment for sale. It takes a lot of wood, but not a lot of mana. And they're all countered by the same thing. Prophets have this Valdak spell of Life Leech, which will do Vorpal damage to companies. as soon as elite guards come out, all this regular damage types, and it's gonna do nothing to them. If he's angling towards elite guards, which I would be at this point, crush them with your wallet. Then again, elite guards get a bad rap on the upper echelons of play, so some players ignore them, even when the situation calls for it. Also, this blob is very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable to anti-state attack from Nationalist, which would just be Zealots. Elite Bowman even. Yep, Elite Bowman Zealot would be the ideal way to kind of synergize this push. Keep the crowd control off of the Elite Bowman and keep throwing chain lightnings and arrows into the blob. It's an ETA to this when you play a 45-minute game with low tech. Right, here we go. They have to leave. To look up how many companies is this, like 12, 11 companies, countered by what, 3? And some militia? Because morale issues, crest issues, it's just, what are you going to do? And what, they have mana probably transferring over here now. Yeah, okay, these companies need to be healing. They shouldn't be skirmishing here. But he's got 2 more companies here, so he's got 2, 4, 5 goons, 6 goons fighting 9 horse archers. I'm just making up a number. 4, 10. Oh wow, this should be able to break through if they've managed correctly. Alright, and over here we have a lot of just, this is the mana fight. It's kind of tame by modern standards, I want to say. They really do need to get flanking onto these units and spells onto them. If you mismanage these units and let them get targeted, these elite bowmen, then every time one of these things dies, I mean, look how much mana they cost. 2 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana. That's just out of commission. He does look like he has the economy to sustain elite bowmen, which is good. A lot of people will rush up to Elite Bowman, build that one company, then hope that's enough. But having tank here, he could. Okay, we have just Dragoons, and they have to leave. Yeah. They really need to put some mana up here. He's about to get broke. If he keeps taking these engagements against these horse archer balls like this, especially with black throwing mana on here, it's going to be a make or break moment up there. This could be back and forth. There's not enough to support these elite bowmen, so we'll scroll back to the north. And in the north we have these companies coming from veteran. Horse archer restored, hitting for 62 damage, has a siege bonus, can pretty much keep fighting all day. Now you don't necessarily need all these bombs on these, but it does make a difference. Providing Bless, Courage, or you just have the Kohan engage for brief periods since they're not against mass range. Okay, Adelon, like, he's got the Inspire Blast, which is a little bit of a downscale in DPS. But he gets more mana regen, it kind of works out a little bit. I think he gets his mana regen next time. Enlighten King Org, this defense bonus, and inspirational. Not bad. Alright. You can see this is kind of what happens when you have not enough front line. 3 elite bowmen against fast crowd control. It's just, you're not going to get anywhere. And these summoners don't like getting stunned when they try and engage. They need a screen. I'm actually kind of impressed at Naked One's army composition. Not army composition, but the fact that they actually made this work. A lot of people say horse archers are oppressive, but I don't feel, if you think about all the options they had, that this is the most oppressive thing they could have done. Although it does look kind of fun to do. Aura restored. This is the front line they need for these, but probably fighting out the forest. Their economy's about to tank. Yeah, okay. We have a big engagement. We'll see. This will be... If they lose that town, then this game is probably over. I mean, this village. Do the elite bowmen get engaged at the right time? We have elementals coming out with some damage, a little bit. Seasons are being baited. Accidentally, probably. Alright. He's got a screen for them to spell immunity. This is another option if you don't have... Yeah, if you do not have the elite guards. Now they need to get out of there. They can't be engaged while the elite bowmen aren't firing. Okay, that's going to take away a lot of the durability, but maybe they'll outlast it. Yeah. A little discombobulated, but it's kind of working. Yep, captains aren't engaged. Give them a lot of damage, skeleton orders destroyed. That might work out. And these horse archers failing to have the sustain required to maintain this push, despite having really strong Kohan in their midst. Restored to Sim. He can probably engage safely with another Dragoon company backing him. He has 18 defense value, although Valor, I think this doesn't look as intended. Timid. So yeah, Valor, it does the opposite of what it's supposed to do, and it still provides courage, but then it gives -5 to the roll. Oh, I'm sorry I looked away from this, honestly. It really looked like the elite bowman had this down pat, but it looks like they got their raid off first. He managed to keep his head above water. If he could sell some of those carpentry guilds, that'd probably help him out a bit. Rebuild them as wood mills, sawmills. Oof, okay. Brown's economy is huge. He has another opportunity to add more tech to his armies. Looks like he added magicians. Not entirely necessary to go for magicians, I would say, unless he's getting them out of a billet or something. And he's building them out of a workshop build. He did need DPS. I would have rather seen some Wraithfire casters. And here the struggle continues. You can hear the cries of the horses. This is a smart thing to keep massing. You just need a front line for your elite bowman. You maintain this company's health and you're fine. Only issue is they do struggle against burst damage. Paladins don't like eating fireballs. Okay, so we have little bit of Dragoons coming in. She can't really contribute too much, personally. She has Shadow Bane, but ranged archer damage until she gets restored, where she has Vorpal range damage. Not the biggest impact, just fun facts. It'd be almost nicer to see him over there, but he'd probably get stunned at some point. And you want to keep your Kohan away from crowd control when you're not managing it. I for sure thought this game was over, but I think Gray's kind of clutching it. They switched sides. They said, hey, I'm making mana units. Let me deal with Brown. You guys have Master Dragoons and Horse Archers. You guys fight each other over there. I think the real move would be to make some sustain for both sides over here and then free up their cavalry. Elite Guards. Okay, I would love to see these on the other side, because they could probably end the game. Oh no, this is the danger. Okay, not losing Dora. Nice. Okay, so let's talk. Restored already. Yeah, you can see some crazy experience out of Elite Bowman. Look at this. Veteran already. They've only been fighting for like 10 minutes, 8 minutes. This is going very long. So I'll speed it to 200 for a little bit. We have been at 144, which I think is a good speed to cast at in these 2v2s. These elite guards should be making lots of headway here. Although really they're not a counter to anything specifically. And you can see they're having morale issues. If you get some wizards on these guys, hitting these guys, you probably get them to set back, some dreadfire, just really any kind of morale damage to them. Without the fanatic sustain them, they lose some value. But they should still be able to push here. Just Dragoons. I wonder if he's clearing out that company on purpose. Probably a misclick. I'm gonna give it to him and say it's a misclick. Maybe he wants to pump out more elite guards with that iron. Melchior restored. This guy's just been sitting behind the lines, blinking endlessly with his morale sustained from his Seiya front line. Okay. EVs pushing in. It's the elite units and the tech units that are really making the difference in this game. Honestly, versus the elite guards here, you could probably just mass more fireballs if you could afford the mana. So when you're at this stage, you want to be selling these and building sawmills. People will say, why do that? It won't make a difference to your economy. But you can make sawmills out of those and then scale up your economy pretty organically. Or in this case, you might even want to leave a few of them regular wood mills so he has the opportunity to build libraries by upgrading some royalist villages to towns. Not something most players do, but it's something you should keep in mind as an option when you're settling these done. At this late game stage, you see a lot of that. You can't really settle safely anymore. So you have to build up. This is also a time that typically favors the council player. If he can reclaim these mines, yeah, which he's doing, he's going to fix his economy in a really nasty way. These dragoons are kind of working out. Just mass melee. Healthy. Outscaling the horse archers. So what I would have liked to see, honestly, he went mass magicians, but sorcerers are so good in a lot of things. Earlier in the game, before he had elite guards out, after the elite guards, you just want to pile magicians into them. First all and down all that defense. And you really want to make sure you're flanking and getting top of these bunkers with all this cavalry you have. You know, there's no reason not to be swinging around constantly at this point. Forcing those guys to retreat, forcing them to screen so that you have better archer lines. Yeah, this is gonna be the deciding factor. This army composition counters this army composition. I like that he started winning this on his side, but he could just tank his eco as much as possible, and that's what I'd be doing. Put a nail in it. Yeah, you might be wondering what you do against this as the Seiya player. Investing heavily in Shadow Priest will never work out for you versus other factions. If the players know what they're doing, they can always go Paladins, they can go really almost anything. There's a lack of sustain, lack of teeth. It's a simple and effective comp, but it has a lot of counterplay. Also, this player is incredibly vulnerable to flanking. This is just a way to use his iron from workshops, I'm guessing. Using last route. Yeah. Never got that Dark Rift, that hurts. And could have expanded over there pretty aggressively. As a Royalist player, you want to fill out your side of the map almost, just to be sure you have that space. Even if it's not affected eco-wise. We have a elite horse archer company. I'd like to see him try and get on top of this invoker or something. You know, swinging around, attacking, clearing sides. Just piling damage into elementals. But just give him lots of experience. This is a trench fight with cavalry, is why this looks so weird. You want the cavalry to do stuff? The cavalry does, but you can't really because you're covered by militia and all this other stuff. You want to force out of this. But typically this favors the ranged player, not the one massing your troops. Side switching, but these guys are just pushing. He's maintaining course. He knows this is going to be slow. If they upgrade forts, it's going to take a long time for Shadow Priest to take them down. The magicians are bringing the firepower. Can they push faster than this? And if this company's taken out, what do? You're done, right? So, we'll see. Pressing channel paladins is not a bad idea. They have so much defense and bulk. That's what I call it, bulk. They just have a ton of health and stats that are provided. They're not worried about pressing and losing attack value. This is the death knell, the micro slipping. The mass wizards are coming out. This is what I would have liked to see earlier. Not sure if you had access to this. But wizard crossbows or something, they do so good against horse archers. Every little DB cuts down the amount of take significantly. Let's see what we have. 10 plus 1. 21, 21-ish against range for those wizard crossbows. There's some arguments to be made that the cleric does better on these companies than a channeler if you test them against each other. Okay, there's that death nail, there's the GG. Alright, an interesting game, I want to say. Definitely not a playstyle I'm familiar with. This is a bit older, this is an old meta, and even then I think this may have been an exception. Probably why he sent it in. Devon might be McLeod, I'm realizing. I was thinking about it throughout the course of the game, the way he managed his Kohan, and he's one of the primary players of Nationalist that use that Mascoon strat. Although this was a little excessive, I want to say. Yeah, that was a very fun game to cast. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope the audio was balanced. I'll check that. And, alright, see you guys next time for another Kohan Duels.